have 8,500 chicken, and they are in a chick stage, grower, and layer. Those which are laying are giving us 120 trays of eggs, which we are selling at 12,000 shillings per tray, which gives us 1,440,000, and the cost of production is 1,140,000, which gives us a net balance of 300,000 per day as profit. With a feed pressing plant, every day we are processing 1,000 kilos or 1 ton of feeds. We are selling these feeds at 1,850 per kilo, and the cost of production is 1,700. So on every kilo we are making 150 shillings times 1,000 kilo. That is 150,000 shillings per day as net balance of profit from the feeds processing plant. For the dairy zero grazing section, we have got 8 cows. Out of these, 6 are mothers now. The 6 mothers are giving us 120 liters of milk every day. We are selling our liter of milk at 1,000 shillings farm gate price, and which gives us 110,000 shillings per day. And the cost of feeding them is 50,000 shillings per day. That leaves us with a balance of 60,000 shillings per day as net profit. These are 8 cows. The 2 cows are heifers, but the beauty of it is these cows gives us, the mothers gives us, every cow gives a heifer or gives birth to a heifer every year. So with the 4th component is the waste, production of waste. We are generating a lot of waste from the poultry and the cows. After extracting the biogas, we are using the gas for cooking. After extracting that, we use the manure. First, the immediate neighbors are taking this manure. We are not selling this manure to the immediate neighbors. Those who have got banana plantations, we give them. We have connected a channel to them. But the balance of manure in excess of what they take, we sell 2 lorries per month, and each lorry is 300,000, and that comes with 600,000. So when we deduct the cost of ferrying and collection is 50,000, we remain with 550,000 per month after giving the neighbors. Milk is not going up. Every day it has been staggered for a long time. So what we did, I said, let's add value to this milk. So behind there you have seen at the farm we have planted strawberries. These are fresh strawberries which get ripe. We process them, we freeze them, we blend them into our milk, and we work on the yogurt. So we are producing yogurt here with fresh strawberries, and the taste is very, very good. And this milk, this yogurt, every 1 liter goes for 5,000. So instead of selling our milk at 1,000 on farm, we are looking at selling it at 5,000 after adding value, putting there strawberries, moreover fresh strawberries, not this.
Nze Basangwa Johnson, Managing Director wa Jeka Poultry Farm. Jeka Poultry Farm eyaganibwa Bukwenge, Kamuli Municipality, Kamuli District. Mu 2007 twatandika obulunzi nga tutandikira mu Kamuli Town Council by then mu plot yali 50 feet by 100 feet. Ezo futi 5 ku 10 eda itaka. Tutandika tutya twali nga tulina ebyobufuzi wano mu Kamuli nga waliwo ensonga nga chairman wero C5 omugenzi Kawuga bamwidukira Katonda mu ekyumulo eky'emirembe nga bamutoyiremu abantu bangi abatamu application nga bali kwenda okufuuka ba chairman ba 5. Ai president yaida yatulungamya yakuba ati bana abantu mwena timusobola kuba ba chairman ba 5, aye abantu mujje mukola emirimu egindi ng'okulunda yayogera kulunda embidi okulunda enkoko byona yabyogera. Nze napikinga mu ky'okulunda enkoko n'atandika efaamu mu 2007 n'enkoko 5. Saawa dino wendogerera ku faamu kuno tiize mabega ntambwire. Pulezidenti yaida yankyalira mu 2010 nga nina enkoko 5,000 yasanuka ino. Saawa dino tutambwire tulina enkoko 1,000 tufulumya amagi etro 2,000 buli lunaku. Etro 2,000 divaamu miliyoni 2 buli lunaku. Omwezi diba miliyoni 6. Omwaka tuba tuli mu biliyoni ze 6 n'ekitundu etuba tukola ki tuyingiza. So tuwulirisa omulamwa gwa president okuva ku kiseera ekyo twakati katukigiireko. President abaire musanhufu ino ku bintu byenkoze era nga buli kaseera nkyekingaku. Wendogerera kati tulina abakozi 300 betukozesa wano ku faamu tuwezaawo 10. Aye business daife yeditambulira kubanga amagi twagaidwirawo outlet sinning mu Uganda. So yona eri abakozi baife wogaita omugaita betukozesa tuweza abakozi 300. So tulikubiriza abantu abandi kubanga ife twataawo omulamu ogw'okusomesa abantu okuboneka nti bava mu bwavu boona. So tulikubiriza abantu mwide tusobole okwega tweyongere okuboneka nti tukyusa ku Busoga ni Uganda. Nze ndi musanhufu okuboneka nti twatandika n'enkoko 5 ate saawa dino nga tuli wano. Twatandika ne plot ya futi 5 ku 10 nga saawa dino tusobola okuweza eka 27 ate nga diri ku n'ebyapa. So nze ndiba kuba nti bwetunaatwala omulamu gwa President Museveni ensi edda kukyuka, abantu baidda kukola, abantu mwidda kuba bulungi nga buli muntu ayingiza ku sente mu nsawo. Bino ebintu byangu bya kukola. Ababikola boogera olulimi lw'omwogera Olusoga ate nga babikolera wano ku itaka lyenyu. So nze ndikoba nti tweyunge ku mulamu gwa president ensi edda kukyuka tulobe kulowooza nti ebintu bino tibisoboka aye bisoboka. President ajja okwogera ekintu ng'akiboine era ife otuwulirisa ebigambo byayogera tukoze emirimu gino wabona nga tukyusa kuki kubulamu. So nze nkoba nti mutucontactinge ni mu campaign muno president muwo obululu kubanga president alina vision eyokyusa abantu ate nze nabona president ayenda okutoola abantu mu bwavu alina obulumi obw'okuboneka nti abantu be bali mu bwavu aye ayenda okyusa abantu mu bwavu. Bino byonna byakoze bya PDM naki ayenda kutoola abantu mu bwavu. So bana tumweyungeku tusobole okukola ensi eno ekyuke. Mwebale ino ndi Basangwa Johnson wano ku Jeka Poultry Farm e Kamuli.
There are millions of them. When I fly over the cattle corridor and see the nice, well-fenced, bush-cleared farms of the dairy and beef cattle in the previous Irungu wilderness of that zone of our country, I fly over the Masaka-Raka Isembabwe area with the coffee gardens in maybe 60% of the homes. I fly over Kalangara with the palm trees for oil. I fly over the Teso area with the citrus gardens, over Bunduwijo and Mukono areas with the cocoa and coffee gardens, over the Bushenyi Sinjiro areas with the banana gardens, over the Zombo areas with the Arabic coffee, over the Bujus areas with Arabic coffee, etc., etc. You realize that our efforts have not been in vain, and anybody who downplays these achievements is an enemy of Uganda. This is even before you talk about the huge sugarcane plantations in Busoga and Bunyoro, the palm oil plantations in Maruzi, Lango, the sugarcane plantations in the Ruweru and Nakasiki areas, or the Kayunga areas. Have you seen the magnificent tea estates in the Toro, Ankora, and Kigezi areas? With the tea, there is the temporary problem of low prices. However, the people in the tea sector have assured me that the price is only affected by the failure to use fertilizers and bird picking methods. All this is just in the commercial agricultural sector. How about manufacturing and services? Have you heard that Uganda has now got more than 50,000 factories, employing over 800,000 people? The services sector has created 6 million jobs, and the hotels now have 150,000 hotel beds. The commercial agricultural sector is now employing 3.8 million people. The IC sector is employing 2.3 million people. These figures have been given to me recently by finance. There were others which had been given, but they say these are the correct ones. Therefore, the issue of wealth and jobs has solutions for those willing to listen. The issue of free education started well in 1997, and it worked well for some years. The number of children, a total of 20 million children, got free education for primary by the local elite of saying that they are milking money from the poor in order to hire more teachers. I'm providing completely free education at my skilling hubs. Yet my effort is more costly than the UPE USC option that ought to be day schools because they are near the population, unlike my hubs that can only be boarding because of distances. The whole education system will now emphasize the issue of skills, emyoga. The pre-colonial Uganda was of communities of emyoga. Abarisa, cattle keepers, abahingi, cultivators, abahesi, blacksmith, abatanaji, bow and arrow makers, abanogozi, the clay users, abaremi, the shoemakers, abakomaji, the backcloth makers, abajenji, the surgeons, abafumu, the healers, ababunji, the bone setters, etc., etc. Yes, there were administrators, abami, chiefs, but there were few. Not the colonial and neo-colonial distortion, when the non-wealth creators are in hundreds of thousands, while the wealth creators are not as numerous as they need to be. It is therefore correct that the education system goes back to the strategy of modernized emyoga. Part of the health strategy, although partially implemented, has worked very well. This is the strategy of prevention through immunization, hygiene, good lifestyle, nutrition, safe water, etc. Although it is only immunization and safe water that have really been worked on, it has improved the average life expectancy from 43 years to 68 years. However, there is the problem of curative that is still outstanding. That problem is tied up with the problem of obtafayo, not bothering with the important things. It is tied up with the issue of corruption. I happen to have been here in the times of the British, the time of independence, and after. In all that time, I saw the corruption of the public servants. That is the chiefs, the veterinary personnel, the medical personnel, the school teachers, etc. When we were in the bush, I told the NRM leadership that we could not trust the public servants to serve our people honestly. I therefore proposed that we add our own structures elected by the people to supervise the interests of the people. You have that power to elect the LC1s, LC2s, LC3s, LC5s, members of parliament, councillors, etc. These are the ones to report corruption and other misconduct in the area, especially the ones being paid by the state. Those are the LC3 chairperson, the member of parliament, and the LC5 chairperson and other officials. What has happened is corruption, land grabbing, etc., happening in Congo or Uganda. If it is happening in a locality in Uganda, where there is a galaxy of all those elected and paid leaders, why do they not expose the problem? Yes, the government has another galaxy of actors, accountants, auditors, etc. We shall continue trying to bring them to Jesus Christ and Muhammad for salvation, to save them from corruption, and also axe the incorrigible ones. However, when my strategy of the LC system works, it will be a game changer. Recently, near Mpigi town, I engaged some Bazukuru there that were talking about corruption. I told them to elect serious leaders, serious people that guard their interests, the interests of the people. That was why the LC system was designed. Finally, on the issue of political competition and law and order, politics is not about the livelihood of leaders. Solve the problem of jobs for some people. It is about the destiny of peoples. That destiny is guided by principles that arise from the analysis and the determination of how the respective societies can be safe and prosperous. In the case of Uganda, in the 1960s, our student movement disagreed with the sectarian politics of that time of religion and tribe. We eventually distilled our principles of love, Uganda, patriotism. Why? It is because you need it for your prosperity. If you are a wealth creator and not a parasite, you need Uganda as a market for your products. Banyankole do not buy my milk, they do not buy my beef or buy my bananas because they are producing similar products. It is the people of Kampala that buy my products. I also buy the products from other parts of Uganda. Sugar from Busoga, Buganda and Bunyoro, vegetable oil from Karangara, textiles from Buganda, etc. The second principle is that we should love Africa, Pan-Africanism. Why? It is because the internal market of Uganda is not enough. However, we cannot benefit from these two markets unless we undergo socio-economic transformation by migrating from Okoro Echida Kyonka to working for Echida, the stomach, and Ensawo, the pocket, with Echibaro, Chura, Aymar, Otita, the calculation for profit. Then the fourth principle is democracy. It is people that believe in these principles, which is the only way to prosperity, that I associate with politically. It is a principle for one to fight somebody that fights these principles. Instead, you should discuss among those who believe in these principles to determine who should represent us here or there according to the suitability. The moment you see political positions as a means of living, you then become a problem for your country. Since 1971, we left well-paying jobs to fight Idi Amin. Why? It is because we were sure that he would block our vision of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. Previously, we had been massaging Obote because there was a possibility that he could move with us on Pan-Africanism, for example, the East African Federation. Therefore, the political actors should stop the pseudo-politics of me, because it is not only barren, but very destructive for countries. On the issue of law and order, you have been seeing the indiscipline and anarchic conduct of some of the opposition, guided by the wrong politics in their heads and prompted by parasitic foreigners that back them. They make many mistakes. These include transporting audiences to create the image of big crowds at the venues. Those arrested following Mr. Kyagulanyi at Mile 4 in Mbarara confessed that they had a fleet of possibly 200 vehicles transporting those nomadic audiences. You then have the Kyagulanyi schemes of causing chaos in the country on behalf of the foreigners that fund them and back them. Mr. Kyagulanyi and his evil foreigners that back him fail to understand that Uganda is a land of spiritual and political matters. The spiritual matters like Karoli Lwanga, etc., the political matters like Rutamaguzi are very good examples for the present generations. Many Ugandans, especially those that have been with the opposition, get flabbergasted by those schemes and link up with us and peacefully dissolve those schemes. Do you remember Taja Kulaira? Do you remember Gen Z plan for the 4th of July, 2024, for the riots like those of Kenya, etc.? Do you remember those? They were rejected by the people. Have you noticed the number of NUP flag bearers for parliament that are pulling out? The criminal opposition must also stop intimidating Ugandans. You have no right to intimidate a Ugandan. Therefore, Ugandans, come out and vote. Nobody would intimidate you or endanger your security. Anybody who tries will have himself to blame and will end up badly. The future of Uganda is bright. Our first oil will come out next year. Regarding the police methods, I reject the practice of caning lawbreakers. Some police forces in the world do it using batons. I, however, reject it. It must stop. Teachers and parents used to cane us, but it was a wrong method. However, using tear gas for rioters is both legal and non-lethal. Doesn't kill. It is much better than using live bullets. However, the police should be more methodical if they are to use tear gas or water cannons or other non-lethal techniques by, for instance, requesting in time the bystanders to move away before using tear gas and other anti-riot non-lethal methods against the rioters. The police should use loudspeakers to warn people and give people time to pull away. I have been busy campaigning and have not been following the antics of the opposition actors. I have, however, heard that the mobile audiences of Mr. Kyagulanyi have been looting people in some cases. I last heard of the attacks on people I talked to myself in Abim, Karamoja. These ones I talked to myself, who were attacked by the gangs of Mr. Chagulanyi. Uganda is secure. Go out and vote. Uganda and NRM are unstoppable. Happy 2026 and beyond. Thank you.
yora me wile yama kodi gufo ka wiyo di tiate yot pad menene kucha dai tuaro ka chirikala kordo gona ni tineno kuj poberu ginna ngola kene kuchu tuta tura yobo tuan magoba mir gwang nyego General Museveni obera neg macha kuya yela e gwak chenge lobo chol na miera jo chele gin kobne aloga tia binu ento ka koda yamodo leng piton ya to konyuko ne piene meto petaten ya imede gwako lwiro chomo pinya tut genna kwai twaru chuye manu gen keberu dana genne onywale wadwa me Uganda iburdu aparu ya bidwe ma chele mwaka tutario e piero wa bichel anuongo peka ibolo kwirpi yero president me Uganda keken anuongi tira chotwera tela loba paro pi jolong dana nenu kere tute mera ukemo berbera Afrika long weg mede tela port me wicho pie mot Uganda kere lobo jolong wi lobo ngeoman Museo berwon kompi du loba pelere ulwon nana line movement kere south to south cooperation nota loba te tute kwa katino medon tie doga gamotela medula lwodo kita lobo chole tie ti kere kelo don lobo Africa peer review mechanism chakidwe mario tutaria piero wa bichel African Union endok podu gene metalo tute mekelu kuchi lobo chodan iteta la muze Uganda tela chalwon kompi du la bwoke lukuchi lobo chol ulwon African Union Peace and Security Council tie la ngwen twale rome summit aloro Museo kwa port dwako kuchi lobo Burundi kede miyu Somalia dwako twero gi loba loye kenge chalo state tinge mwoke piera yome guguga tak tutwale lobo mana tie tunga Afrikani achala kwena teni mejiri nyo evanjile mwelimu Julius Nyerere Museo telo rochu dula kelo karachele loba ti nyame Africa, East African Community, then we pe will carry long, e chimo talamere yo, kiri me yo talamere tame roma mala kwa nota lobe mage. Eno beru ngata chubru neno me dongo tiji swahili, achalo leba chel ke kana rama nota walong, achalo en para pe jo long, kiri neno mera bore, o mi yo tala te kwa rapa para dugu chene Uganda, kunu yeye ngara chela chele, bidi te dini mera chunye puo, kau long, lobo chol long, winyu punyere meriego, ujuan, komimi to joko kodwana tela Africa long winyu ne, muze po biru gero ka monyi. O kero dul monya wara gwago mira Afrika iko kome. O teka UPDF. Ame o kelo kuchi wang chome Uganda lobe longo rumo wa. Ikara locha raj mirangi del komotany. Akun jeje bugura pati ANC. Ikabera nu lwenyo kuri yelo bu South Africa. General Museveni. O jolo te punyo lwenyo me ANC. O luo mu konto wesidwe. Kere dulo lwenyo chele pi miyu lobo South Africa. Lo yekenge. Pi mara mere komdano kere mara lobo chol. Muze puru mogo kopereni. A chol pe mir beda bo pachi lobo chol. Eno yabu dogola boto rian yela. Ikara lobo chele tia gera pama me pongo rian yela. Manu kel wala duwe kom Uganda. Bodwi lobo long. Pibe de loba jolo rian yela. Uganda man tie kero rian yela. Chochok millionaire yotwal. Eno telo tuteme tingu wimon male Uganda kan. Kello gibeda ruro me jolong. Tedang telo wa be tutwal. Ikare dege me COVID-19 cha. En petia gwako wa ber keken. Tie da ter wa nyim. Awobi penyo. Nyaka bolo chikere. Uje wontok ti record me goba bopa mira gwaka. Don lobo chui kom kuch. Kuri bata yama pegenne. Yer Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Yer NRM. Ngechi ujaibot Africa Mashariki First Initiative. Kuna ambassador Rebecca Mugoteo. Choro tere.
Electing your leaders at various elective positions is your fundamental human right. Here's how to cast your vote safely and correctly. Step 1. Go to the polling station where you're registered. Step 2. Present your national ID or voter location slip for officials to confirm your name on the register. Step 3. Your identity is verified using the Biometric Voter Verification Kit, fingerprint or face scan. Biometric verification is mandatory to ensure only eligible voters vote. Step 4. Your ballot is scanned and issued to guarantee it's valid. Step 5. Mark your choice in secret, cast your ballot and get inked. Polling runs from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Your identity protected, your vote secure. Turn up and vote. My vote, my voice.
Members of Parliament, colleague mayors, our technical officers, I'd like to thank the chair for referring to me as the practitioners. So that is now the practical aspect. The presentations were book work, research documents, comparing us to Tokyo, Guangzhou, I don't know where. But what is the reality? What is the reality? The reality is that when it comes to physical planning, there's even no vote allocated that this is dedicated for the physical planner. So when we say all these beautiful things, then this officer who is seated next to me, who is a physical planner, how does he go out in the field to enforce physical planning? These are the realities. And I want to pick from the presenter, our Youth Meet coordinator. You concluded by saying the purpose of knowledge is not just knowledge, but it's for action. And I want to thank this gathering for this urban development conference. This is the beginning, and I would love that we have this more often. And we bring in more players. Today, I'm happy that we have the Minister of Works, Transport. All this time when we're implementing UseMeet, I even don't see you in our meetings. I don't see any of your officers coming to work with us to say, okay, these are the standards for urban roads. So we now need to integrate and touch on the practical aspect. How do we make these realities? So for me, the issues are all laid out. They are very clear. What do we do? Can we accept members of parliament to allocate more money in physical planning? Because it has already been explained to us that out of physical planning, this country can generate more money. Now, if we know it, why are we not doing it? Sometimes I describe ourselves, especially the cities that have been brought in this country. Sometimes I even don't know who we are. There's Kampala, capital city. And then for us, they say cities. Others call us secondary cities. Others call us regional cities. Who are we really in law? So some of these things have to be brought to the level of practicality. So we need to address some of these issues so that practically, together we can have what we are calling inclusive cities. Now, when you say inclusive cities, for example, I love the geographical space that I call them secondary cities have. Mbarara, I was surprised, has 420 square kilometers. Arua has 400 and something. Lira is 284. Now, inclusive in this case, remember, there are these people who became part of the city that never were a town board. They were never a town council. They were never a municipality. They just woke up one day and they were declared cities. I mean, my grandfather grew up in a space that left my father in, and I'm now there, and with a rural mentality, and you're telling me you are not a city. And then start paying for garbage. I don't know, do this. Connect your sewer to the major sewer line. You are dreaming. You're dreaming. That is not real. So how do we address the reality? So inclusiveness, you now need to consider the urban poor, who are now the major population in these cities. How are you going to make them part of these cities? The man who has never visited Kampala, he has not even reached Gulu, but he lives in Lira. He hasn't even reached Soroti. You want to compare him with Tokyo? There's a problem there. There's a problem. So friends, we love you as our technical officers, but you come down on earth. Don't continue staying there in the space, in the sky where you're planning from, in your boardroom, and you're not connecting with the reality. So that is where we want you to be, because as a mayor right now, you're telling me you want to go and enforce physical planning in an area. The minister has even never reached, I don't know whether you'll ever reach, even when you come to Lira, 20 kilometers away from the city center. It's still part of the city. A typical village. And our friends in the office of the Prime Minister decides to eliminate us from benefits of agricultural activities, that because we are now cities. They don't even give us water for irrigation. They don't give us this and that. And yet these are typical villagers. So we need to help these people also become part of the city in a phased manner, that they can grow their income. They can also understand what it is when it comes to having a building.
Do you know when it called love, when to become one? And I felt like a boom in your arms, I call home. Do you know when it called love, when to become one? And I felt like a boom in your arms, I call home. It feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like it feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like a paradise. Do you know when it called love, when to become one? like a boom. In your arms I call home. Do you know when you call love, when two become one? And I felt like a boom. In your arms I call home. It feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like it feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like